spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, people.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner, our 20th episode of the show.
Woo to the who.
Ooh, yes. I am, of course, Daniel Parker, and we're here.
Over here is DB Fastbinder, also known online as Darth Bobcat.
Yes, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new here, what we do is we start off with our thing of the week. This is something that we've been consuming with a form of media we've been consuming. And then we get into box office talk and then get into the topics. And Halo Creators Outlet, good to see you, man.
Hey, man.
So I guess I will start with my thing of the week, which if you haven't guessed from my t-shirt, well planned out. My thing of the week was the 2003 animated version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is my first viewing of it. I've gotten through the first season and a little bit of season 2, and I'm liking it so far. I wish I'd watched it when it aired. Of course, I was in high school at the time, and I didn't watch kids' shows.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm an adult now, more mature, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to watch it.
No one's going to give me a swirly anymore for watching it, so.
Yeah, that's very true. So, but yeah, I like this show. It's if you've read the comic books, it follows the comic books very closely.
Yeah, I think either Eastman or Laird was heavily involved with it.
Laird was. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, because by this point, Eastman had sold his share to Peter Laird, and Laird was Peter Laird he's credited as a creative director, which I don't know what that entailed, but obviously he had more say and influence on the show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it's definitely it's darker than the 87 series or the ill-advised live-action TV show.
Oh God, that one.
Yeah.
The only people who have positive feelings on that one are the current bad writers of the IDW Ninja Turtles comic, who brought back Venus de Milo probably just to spite the fans, which is on topic with something that we can discuss later.
Yes. So yeah, the show starts off. The starting point's a little different. Of course, if you've read the comic books, the first issue was the Turtles fighting Shredder, fighting and killing Shredder. But with the series, it actually starts off with the second issue, which was with Baxter Stockman and his Mousers, and then of course April's working with Baxter Stockman, and then she finds out what he's doing, and then he tries to kill her, and then the Turtles save her.
Keep going. I'll be just 1 second.
Okay, and also with Raphael meeting Casey Jones, and the whole thing with the what are the Otorams? That's the Krang aliens, and yeah, it's. I would definitely recommend the show. It's on Disney. It's not Disney Plus. It's not on Disney Plus. Paramount Plus is where I've been watching it. uh, it's definitely it's darker. Like I said, it's darker than the original cartoon, but it's also got enough humor with it to kind of balances out a little bit. It's kind of like the first movie in terms of the tone and everything,
which was also very close to the comic.
Yes.
Yeah. I had noticed that my sweatpants were sitting there. I was like, yeah, that's
oh yeah, little unkempt.
yes.
But yeah, I one of the things I really love is the animation style. I didn't watch enough. Like I said, I didn't watch a whole lot of animated shows in the late '90s and 2000s. I thought this animation style is really good. I wish they'd go back to that. Go back to this.
So weird thing. You know who was responsible for this?
Who?
4Kids.
Ah.
Yeah, like, and yep, Ninja. We're talking the 2003 show.
Yeah, it's 2003 show. But yeah, it's where I'm at right now is in season 2, which once again, like I said before, it follows the comic books, where Splinter goes missing, and then they find him in TCRI, which is run by the Utarams or Otterams, I think it was. They're the Krang aliens. And then they get on they accidentally get on their little teleporting thing, and they're sent to another galaxy, and that's where they meet the Fugitoid and the Triceratons and all that, So, but yeah, it's the 2003 show got away with a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's a little more intense. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a YouTuber called Jay's Reviews go through the whole series recently, and there was an episode of season 4 or 5 that actually got banned because it was Baxter Stockman basically having so much body horror. It's because have you gotten to where he starts getting bits of him chopped off?
Yeah.
That keeps on going, but then they give him a new clone body. It does not end well.
Oh. Okay then. But yeah, if you've got Paramount Plus, you've never seen this particular Turtle series before, give it a watch. Especially if you're a Turtles purist who read the comic books. Yeah.
Well, was that everything, or is there just one more thing before we move on to mine?
No, I think that's everything. That's everything.
Yeah. My wife, she's the real fan of Ninja Turtles. She loves that Michelangelo kid. Anyway, my thing was Columbo, which is, how there are some shows that you just hear the name referred to places and you never, like, everyone assumes you have the content or you have the idea of what it is. It's like, I didn't grow up watching it. I don't know what a Columbo is. I had the idea that he was a detective, and then some weird meme videos about Columbo came across my desk, which I showed him earlier. It's like the one that brought him into my attention was Columbo versus Light from Death Note.
Yeah.
You got one of them spirit books. The wife is the one who's into those things. Funny thing about them. What's my name? You could just call me Detective.
Yeah.
I've been watching this on Tubi, which I still maintain that Tubi has about the least obnoxious advertisements of any streaming service I've watched. So I watched so before they actually came out with this series, they had one movie in 1968 called, I think it was Prescription Murder. Then another, which I don't think it even had Columbo in the name. Then I think for the second one, they realized, we got a big draw here.
Yeah.
And then then I watched the first episode of the regular series, which amusingly enough was about a pair of feuding writers who wrote mysteries, and one of their books was called Prescription Murder. So that was a nice little nod to the movie.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting series because So to take another stab at Rian Johnson, 20th anniversary or 20th episode, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't avoid that. I remember when Knives Out came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it's so," or he was like puffing on because, "Oh, it's so creative to start off knowing what the murder is." Or like knowing what happened. It's like, hey, the whole how catch 'em, like, so you know about who done it. Columbo is like the first series to do like the how catch 'em. Like, how the murder happened. You watched it happen. The murderer is almost, especially in that first movie, is like the POV character.
Yeah.
Like in that first movie, it's almost a little bit slow because he goes through so much of the what do you call it, the like I think he had the most airtight alibi because they gave him so much time to develop. And then like Columbo shows up later on, and it's almost like the timing of when Godzilla shows up in some Godzilla movies, where there are a couple where he doesn't show up till like the 45-minute mark.
Oh, wow.
Now, mind you, those ones usually have other kaiju in them, but it amused me that Columbo showed up with Godzilla timing in his first appearance.
Yeah.
Then the second one, they got him into the plot much faster.
Okay.
Because I think they realized, oh wait, that's the appeal. So, but I realize I'm talking about it in the same sort of nondescript way that I accuse other people of describing it. Basically, with Columbo, the premise is that you watch the murderer kill their victim. You know why they killed their victim. You know how they killed their victim. You see how the steps they've taken to get away with it. And then Columbo shows up, and it's just a matter of, it's like cat and mouse, where you switch perspectives to see, okay, how does Columbo nail him?
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting approach. And man, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of his actor right now.
The guy playing Columbo?
Yeah, Peter Falk. That's
yeah.
it. He was a treasure, like just amazing. It's this would not work half as well with anybody else in the role. Because he's so great at just looking concerned. He's very good at, because Columbo's whole deal is that he lulls them into a false sense of security by acting like he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like he'll claim ignorance. Like he'll show up at their cabin. Like, oh yeah, you said this place was so nice. The wife, she's big on the outdoors. So I was thinking I'd come up and see if there were any places for rent. Or like he like oh you like in one of them the woman who had murdered her husband had this punch card answering machine thing.
Yeah.
Like very, very high tech early 70s technology, though very impressive in its own way. It's like oh yeah, I don't know a thing about these gadgets, but it's when it's very possible the police station had them too, but it's
yeah.
But yeah, like, just basically acting generally ineffectual, which made them more comfortable having him around, even if they were starting to get annoyed.
Yeah.
It's just a great watch. I'll say that the first episode of the main series, the villain was a little bit dumber than the movies, probably because they had 15 fewer minutes to play with.
Yeah.
But like he actually so his whole thing was he was claiming that his partner, basically they were a murder mystery duo who split up, but the one who did the murder was basically the face of the operation. The other one actually wrote the books, so without him he had nothing.
Yeah.
So he decides to kill him, and he did a good job of making it seem that people thought he was in a different place than he actually was. But his whole scheme was that oh well, my partner decided he wanted to write about real mystery, so he was going to do a big mob expose, and he had actually folded up a sheet of paper with the written names of a bunch of mobsters written on it, or so-called mobsters, and hid it in his desk. And right there in front of Columbo, he goes in there, finds this folded up sheet of paper, and without having to read it, hands it over, It's like it tells them what it is, and it's like, okay, man, you basically just said, I planted this.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
But yeah, but yeah, it's just very it's oddly refreshing. As much as I like fantasy and science fiction, to just read something that's entirely mundane to watch something that's just entirely mundane and very ordinary, but just see what they can do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So strong recommend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So moving on to box office stuff.
Not a lot to report. This
No.
Barbarian movie came out and made some money,
Yeah.
10 million in a very quiet weekend.
Yeah.
Second place was actually, of all things, a Bollywood movie,
Huh.
which had a good per theater rating, or at least a pretty decent one. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's questionable. Like, could they have made more money, or did they know which parts of the country to open in?
They probably knew which parts of the country to open in.
Yeah. There's Top Gun Maverick. It just won't leave the the top 5.
Nope.
It just refuses.
Yeah.
Bullet Train's holding in there too. Like, Bullet Train might be able to leg its way to being profitable at this point.
Yeah.
And Super Pets has had good holds as it goes along.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing. That Spider-Man has kind of dropped down a bunch.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of theaters. Like, it's not been a huge hit. So maybe maybe we were off about our theory that they could have made a lot of money re-releasing some of the straight to streaming pandemic era stuff into there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You never know. I mean, it's but
August is never really a great time for movies anyway. Like that neither is September really, which is why when Shang-Chi came out last year and it was like, it's made records for the biggest opening in on Labor Day. Yeah, because Labor Day is where they sent movies to die.
yeah.
Okay. Congratulations, you put an MCU movie. It's equivalent of putting Usain Bolt in the Special Olympics. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen?
Ooh.
Maybe that's a mean analogy, but it's been a mean week.
Yeah. But yeah, I will say, like, the top movie, Barbarian, I believe is a horror movie, and I've been hearing good things about it.
Yeah, and if it's like other horror movies, let's see here.
Probably small budget.
It looks like the cowards don't want to admit what the budget was. But yeah, horror movies never really get a lot, so it's probably going to do all right for itself in the long run.
Oh yeah.
It's just not setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
But since we kind of knew this was going to be a boring week to talk about, outside of, oh look, there's Thor outside the top 10. It's streaming. I don't know how good it's doing in streaming. Actually, we could probably find out. We'll do it live because it's here. What top 20 watch at home? Let's see here. So Top Gun Maverick, and mind you, this is not free on any streaming service. You have to buy this on Amazon or Xbox or whatever.
Yeah, $20.
Yep. Minions. Where the Crawdads Sing is available.
Crawdads. Oh.
Are they asking for money for it, or is it streaming? They are asking for money for it, but you could rent it for $6. I've actually been intrigued by this one just because it's one of those movies that you see everywhere.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be my thing of the week next week.
Yeah. Jurassic World, Elvis, Black Phone.
Now, this looks bad, but I'm pretty sure this is
12.
And it's new. I don't know if this list counts streaming. I suspect it is paid. So its presence on Disney Plus probably hurts it, but still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's Doctor Strange.
Oh, the original Top Gun is on there.
Yep. Makes sense. A lot of people would probably like. I keep meaning to watch it so I can go watch Maverick.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's check out the Netflix Daily Top 10. Let's just see if there's anything interesting there.
The Lincoln Lawyer, which is based on a book. Wrong side of the tracks. Another one. Jackass 4.5.
I heard I heard a review where somebody went, yeah, they're all kind of too old for this to be fun to watch them get beat up anymore.
Yeah. Johnny Knoxville's got to be in his 50s, isn't he?
Probably.
Uh,
But yeah, I don't know. Nothing here that stands out.
no.
Meanwhile, if we look at what DVDs are people actually watching or buying, I should say. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 sold 145,000 this week. Nice.
Doctor Strange.
Lost City.
I don't know what Last Seen Alive is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Fantastic Beasts. Not enough to make up for it, but Warner Brothers is probably happy to get a little something to offset that.
Yeah.
Heat.
What? Heat? I'm assuming that's the Pacino De Niro movie, isn't it?
1995. So
yeah.
Oh.
Huh.
They must have come out with a new collector's edition or something.
Hmm.
Number 10 is also Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just the bundle with the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically just stuff you'd expect to see, things on its tail end.
Yeah.
Must be a new Grease edition or something.
Oh, one of those are 4K.
Very possible.
Okay. Yeah.
But as you can see, not a lot to talk about. So
yeah.
We are going to do a quick run through every wide release that's coming out between now and the end of the year.
Yes.
At least according to the numbers. And if we have nothing to, we have not rehearsed this. If we have nothing to say about it, we'll move on to the next.
Yes.
So first up, Clerks 3. I liked Clerks 1.
I'll be honest. I haven't seen any of the Clerks movies. I've been meaning to see the first one.
Have you seen Dogma?
No.
I would say that if you're going to bother watching Kevin Smith movie, that's the one to see.
Okay.
Possibly Mallrats, but mostly for Stanley.
Yes.
But all right, and I haven't seen Clerks 2, so not seeing this one.
Yeah.
Next, Life, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. Life.
Oh, hi, Mark. Yes.
I know nothing about this. So next.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
God's Country. Sandra is very tired. And then there's racism, sexism. All right. Wow, it sounds like such a wonderful movie.
Oh yeah.
Pearl. Filmmaker T. West returns and after the Twist World of X. Horror. Okay.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
Yeah.
Running the Bases.
Sports. Oh, is this uplifting sports movie with Christian themes? Yes, like faith-based drama. Yeah.
Yep. Probably not my thing anyway, but good on them for getting it made.
Yes.
See How They Run.
Let's see. In the West End, 1950s, London. Yeah, West End. Yeah. Plans for a movie version of the smash hit play come to an abrupt halt. The film. I don't know. Don't know anything about it.
That could be interesting, but
yeah, it could be interesting. Yeah.
Woman King.
No.
So the kingdom that they are portraying here was basically the ones who sold the slaves to the Europeans. They raided their neighbors, captured them, sacrificed them. Basically genocidal.
Yeah. And they're portraying this woman in a positive light.
And the reason they had to make an all-female unit was because they had been at war so much that a lot of the men had died.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no interest in this.
Me neither.
I heard Chris Gore saying it was better than he thought it was going to be because the opening trailers are just full of dumb rap generic stuff, which is not in the movie at all.
Ah.
All right.
Well,
Next up, Avatar
Avatar.
re-release. Yeah, that makes sense. New
Yeah.
movies coming out. Might as well. Just
Yeah.
in case anybody wasn't alive when it came out.
Yeah, I watched it once on Blu-ray. Don't care to watch it again.
Yep. Don't worry, darling.
Um,
Oh, I've seen a trailer for this. It's one of those Stepford Wives type things. Isn't domesticity awful?
Yes. Yeah.
Bowie.
Oh. Is this a biopic or documentary? It's Ninja Toe. I just saw the trailer and my historical autism activated.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That's a good question.
This might be. I mean, I might be interested in watching that because I mean, I don't consider myself a huge David Bowie fan, but I mean, he was a very talented singer, and
mhm.
be interesting to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, actually, let's see if it biographical drama. Okay, so we know that since it's a movie about a singer, he'll have a good start, then he'll have a problem with drugs in the middle, then they'll find a way to wrap it around in some sort of redemption arc.
Yes.
Like if you ever watch Dewey Cox Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, it basically destroys my ability to take those movies seriously. Because it's funny. It's like it was able to be a parody of Walk the Line and the Ray Charles documentary simultaneously because they were the same movie.
He's hot and cold at the same time.
I was thinking of the same scene. He needs more and less blankets.
Yeah. You
Next
never once
movie.
paid for drugs, not once.
Bros.
No,
Not for me.
no.
Smile. So good that they don't have a poster or a description.
Psychological horror. No, yeah.
Amsterdam. Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, Chris Rock. Okay, it's vaguely interesting just on the
Casting list. Yeah.
Robert De Niro.
Taylor Swift.
I don't know. I have this feeling it's going to end up being one of those like bloated thingies.
Is this what's his name? Paul Thomas Anderson movie? Let's see.
David O. Russell.
David O. Russell. Okay, close enough.
Oh, same sort of weirdness.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Timothy Oliphant. Yeah, he's got a lot of people slumming it for their weird little movie. So now this one I saw, it hit me in the childhood because I used to watch this VHS tape that have like that a song like Lyle, Lyle, Crocodile, and I'm very afraid for it because I looked at pictures and they have him wearing a jacket and I don't remember him wearing a jacket.
Yeah. These any animated adaptation of a kid's book is always seems to be hit and miss.
Yeah. Well, it's like when Lyle's existence is threatened by his evil neighbor, Mr. Grumps. I don't remember that being a thing. I mean, it's been a while since I read it or watched it, but I just remember Lyle like taking baths and singing.
They probably needed to pad out the running time.
Yeah, it's like with the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. It's like, okay, on the one hand, do we have to find out every single thing about his backstory? But on the other hand, I understand because otherwise, how do you pad out 90 minutes?
Yeah.
You can only have Jim Carrey acting silly in green makeup for so long.
Yeah.
But I will probably end up watching this at some point. But Javier Bardem, huh? Okay. And Shawn Mendes is Lyle Crocodile.
Huh.
But yeah, this one I'm surprised I did not end up seeing any trailers for this with the movies I saw because I've seen trailers for everything else. So that tells me they might not be doing a whole lot of advertising for it.
Yeah. Okay, Halloween Ends, which is the third part of the weird like reboot continuation
Yeah,
of
which I've
Halloween, which I haven't seen those. I haven't seen any of the previous two, so I can't. You know, I probably won't be seeing this one.
yep. Although video release October 14th by Peacock, it looks like it's day and date. So if you have,
Yeah.
which is such a winning strategy.
Oh yeah, it always works.
Speaking of winning strategy, let's
Black
let's give
Adam.
a villain a movie,
Yes, and make him an anti-hero because he's played by The Rock.
and we'll waste the Justice Society as being bit characters in the Black Adam movie. And a friend of mine was showing me, like, he was playing a game. Okay, where does this clip come from? Is it from Man of Steel or is it from the Black Adam opener? And I won them all, but that's because I paid attention to this mostly because I wanted to watch it for the show. Yeah, they're trying to be Zack Snyder very badly in this, which is a strange choice.
Yeah, they can't see. They can. DC and Warner Brothers can't decide if they want to embrace Zack Snyder's vision or do away with it.
Or run away screaming.
Yeah.
All right. So we've talked about this a little bit. I don't have a lot of faith in this movie or interest.
Yes, same here.
Also, they saw the original December of 2021. That was probably best for them that they didn't release it then, because Spider-Man would have just crushed it.
Oh yeah.
So they got lucky there.
Yeah.
Ticket to Paradise. No summary, no trailer. Looks like it's been released internationally already. So this is Brazil, Ecuador, filmed in Australia.
Romance.
Okay.
Yeah,
might be all right.
Yeah.
The Devil's Light. According to real-life Vatican reports, occurrence of demonic possession. Okay, probably found footage or...
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Nah.
Next, One Piece film
One
Red
Piece.
is coming to the U.S. Okay, that has to be wrong. Because that movie has been reportedly so big in Japan. Okay. Yeah, okay. They have zeros in here. The numbers does not have all the data for this one.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs from this one have been getting a lot of play on different channels I follow. And there's like one I really enjoy. So even though I am woefully behind on the super long saga of One Piece, I might actually go out and see this. I think I missed my chance to see Dragon Ball Super, but that'll come to streaming soon enough too. So
yeah. I think I watched like the first episode of One Piece, and I just couldn't get into it.
It's a very strange thing. Like yeah.
And it's such a behemoth. There's so many episodes of it. The manga is massive.
Yeah, it's too big.
Yeah.
What I'll be curious about is how well this does, because One Piece has never been as big in the West as Dragon Ball or Naruto, or arguably even Bleach. Although it's since Bleach ended in ignominy and One Piece has kept on going, that's not an entirely fair comparison.
Yeah.
But at the time, it didn't seem to be as big as Bleach, mostly because 4Kids ended up being the ones to dub it back in the day, and they butchered the hell out of it for American TV.
Of course,
because they didn't see their role as bringing things over in their original artistic vision. They saw it as kind of like Power Rangers treated Sentai. Like,
no.
we're gonna make this amenable to American sensibilities.
Jeez.
But this could be interesting. Like you might even be able to understand it because it's about this girl here apparently being the daughter of the guy who gave him the hat.
Oh, okay.
Which that's a bold move to give him a daughter 30 years later.
Yeah.
But moving on. Yeah. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
I don't want to. I have no interest in seeing this movie.
Yeah, So let's talk a little about predictions. I believe that without Chadwick Boseman there, it's going to underperform Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, and even with them bringing Namor in, I don't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they felt the need to change him up. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad, that we have a Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman because he was Black Panther, and
there's some talk of him maybe getting recast and revived in the movie, but we'll see. It's
yeah, yeah,
uh, uh, yeah, it's an odd move.
yeah.
Armageddon Time, no description, just
Based on real life events.
set in Queens, New York, 1980s coming of age. Wonder how. Uh, I'm an awful person because my first thought was everyone has AIDS. Dun 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 dun. AIDS, AIDS, AIDS.
Yep. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
could be very wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, if you want a movie like that, watch the movie adaptation of Rent.
She said, keywords, sex crimes, investigative journalists, F-rated, F-rated, triple, docudrama, social justice, news, sexism, movie business.
Nope.
Next.
Yeah.
Bones and all.
Story of a love between Marion, a young woman learning how to survive on the margins of society, and Lee, an intense, disenfranchised. Oh, jeez.
Okay. And the trapdoors of Ronald Reagan's America.
Oh, no.
No.
Devotion.
Devotion, an aerial war epic based on the best-selling book of the same name, tells the harrowing true story of two elite U.S. Navy fighter pilots during the Korean War. Their heroic sacrifices will ultimately make them the Navy's most celebrated wingmen. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Not a whole lot of movies about the Korean War.
Yeah, it's a forgotten war for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't know these actors, Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell, but yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
It's like it's funny how a lot of things like how we've been seeing. I've been reading like descriptions, like what we would make up as fake movies. Like that last one was just so many buzzwords.
Oh yeah.
Strange World, no description.
Man.
The Fablemans,
Spielberg.
a deeply personal portrait of 20th century childhood.
Yeah, it's Spielberg's directing it. Yeah.
It's coming of age story about a young man's discovery of a shattering family secret and exploration of power of movies to help us see through. That sounds conceivably interesting, but like also depressing.
Yeah, it's well, that's Steven Spielberg doesn't make fun movies anymore. Like the last fun movie he really made was Ready Player One.
Yeah. Oh, also, speaking of Spielberg, I forgot to mention, I was so shocked when I hit the end of that first episode of Columbo, the first regular episode. He directed a single episode for them. Yeah, like
wow.
Apparently he was talking about how on that movie they were happy. They or on that show they were telling him, "Yeah, man, keep going. Come on, do weird things. We like it."
Yeah.
When most people in TV would go, "Just shoot an ordinary shot. Come on."
Yeah.
No description. No. Action comedy, Christmas, Santa Claus.
Oh, okay, it's a Christmas movie.
That could be fun.
Action comedy with Santa Claus.
Yeah. And R-rated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be funny.
Yeah.
House Party 2022.
Oh,
I remember hearing about this. I've never even seen the original one.
I haven't either, and I don't care to either. I don't know why you're making remakes of stuff like this. Just
yeah.
The
Whale, a 600-pound man who can't leave his apartment and escapes as estranged from his teenage daughter who wants to reconnect.
Based on a play.
But had to reinforce the stage.
Yeah.
A Man Called Otto, based on the comical and moving New York Times bestseller. A Man Called Otto tells the story of Otto Anderson and Grumpy Widower, criticizing and judging his disaster. A lovely young family. That's
No.
one of those that's probably going to be more interesting than its description makes it sound.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now this is going to be the top movie by the end of the year. I think it's going to be it will probably do close to Top Gun Maverick numbers, I think.
So do you think it's going to overcome Top Gun Maverick, or do you think that it's going to be stuck in second?
I think it'll be second. Because here's why I think that. It's been the first movie came out in 2009. It's a long time ago in movie years. So, anybody who might have saw the first movie and was slightly interested in it, or thought it was okay and maybe interested in the sequel, probably I think that's gone. And for somebody, and I will say, for me, when I watched the initial teaser trailer, I felt the same way I felt when I watched the movie. I felt like it looked like a video game.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because Top Gun Maverick, you could have made the same thing. Oh, it's a movie that's 30 years old. Who wants a direct sequel to that? It's been so long.
True. Yeah.
But the difference is that, does Avatar have a compelling character?
No.
Or any compelling actors, really, besides Sigourney Weaver, who is dead?
No.
And Quaritch, the villain, who I thought actually had a point, who was also dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam was what was the guy? Sam Worthington was the actor's name.
Yeah.
Like he has the charisma of drywall.
Yeah, at least drywall you can hang paintings on it.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I just can't imagine this being good.
Yeah.
I have this. I guess it's just a question of how much pent up demand is there for another Avatar movie. Because I know there are some people who are excited, like Rob Liefeld is excited about it. Though he tends to be very excited about many things. So I love the man, but I do wonder sometimes if he might be mildly compromised. And I only say this because he's liked all this, or he's been really excited about all this Disney streaming Marvel stuff. Although part of it could just be he's just happy that they're making stuff based on this stuff he loves.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I will say with this too, like I mean, I guess it mostly takes place underwater, which you would have thought that James Cameron would have learned his lesson after the Abyss and Titanic to not make a movie underwater.
Man loves water. What can I say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's no way this isn't at least the second top movie of the year, just because I see there being a lot more excitement for this than for Jurassic World.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is number 2 at the moment. But at the same time, I don't know that. I don't know. Like, I have this odd feeling it's going to squeak out $1 billion and be like an underperformer compared to what everyone's expecting.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I think that Avatar was like a special moment in time. Like Star Wars was a special moment in time. Just the difference that Star Wars had, compelling situations and story and characters. The other thing is that Jake Sully's character has already achieved what he wanted to achieve. He can walk again, and he is a blue kitty.
Yes.
The humans have been kicked off the planet.
Yeah.
What else is there to do? Now you could say, well, the rebellion blew up the Death Star. What else is there to do? There's more Empire than just the Death Star.
Yes.
We know that there's more Empire than just the Death Star.
Yeah.
They implied at the end of that movie that the humans without this Pandora's resources were doomed. So unless they use those Disney connections and make Avatar versus Predator or something, then
I would watch that.
Yes, that would be exciting, which is why they won't do it.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be the #2 movie of the year, but it will kind of, yeah, I think it's probably gonna end up having like that type of Marvel trajectory where it starts off really big, then dies fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
All right. Spoiler alert: there's absolutely no description for this movie. I want to dance with somebody. Hey, you were right that it was about Whitney Houston.
Yeah, that's what as soon as I saw the title, like, oh, that's Whitney Houston. Yeah.
So it's another biography movie. We'll see her get more and less towels, and they'll have to find some way to make her tragic life have a hopeful note at the end.
Yeah. She for those of you who don't know, Whitney Houston had a lot of issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. No description, but I saw a trailer for this ages ago. It felt fake.
Why do they keep making these?
Because DreamWorks has no ideas, I guess. Keywords: family adventure, talking animals, animal lead, development hell.
Development hell. Well, okay.
So that might explain part of why they came out with it.
Yeah. All right.
Women Talking. Based on the best-selling novel by Miriam Toews, Women Talking follows a group of women in an isolated religious colony as they struggle to reconcile their faith with a series of sexual assaults committed by the colony's men. So now I don't feel as happy about the jokes that I was coming up with. Because I said it before, that's a title that the 1950s bad shtick writes itself.
Yeah.
But so that's the last release of the year. So that took a little bit longer than anticipated, but
it's all right.
Yeah. So let's get into our actual news for the week. And I would say that this is a fairly light week in terms of actual news.
Yeah.
Now you might be going, okay, well, you're a pop culture or podcast of a sort. Why are you? Where's your review of Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power? We'll get to that in a minute.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we will. Yes, we will discuss why there's no review.
So, this is a story from earlier this year where DC Comics' newest crisis won't reboot the universe, thank God, by Rob Bricken from Gizmodo. Months later, DC Comics rebooting their universe again. Source: Thinking Critical and others.
Yeah.
Because in December, at the end of this Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was originally just called Dark Crisis, and then they said, oh, no, we totally didn't rename it that, so people associated it with the popular event.
Yeah.
Halfway through, even though comic shop owners could go, oh, we saw the solicits with the original titles. You changed at the last minute. They're doing a new one called Dawn of the DCU. Which isn't. So there's a thought that occurred to me. So have you heard of the whole idea of the Convention of the States?
Sounds familiar.
So there's a clause in the U.S. Constitution where if a certain percentage of the legislatures agreed to it, they could have a new constitutional convention. And it's never, it would require that one party or people across multiple parties in, I think it was like 37 states would have to have the political will to make it happen. I think it's like 3/4 of the states or something like that. And on the one hand, it's like it sounds like a decent idea because there are some structural things in the way things are done that could be taken care of. Like you could pass an amendment that strictly banned political PACs and things like that. And just because, why are they there? Well, because it's seen as a freedom of speech issue. Well, if you just amend the Constitution so it specifically is not, like that's an example of a thing people have talked about. Or if you want term limits, that's a way to force term limits. And then once he did that, it would pass back to the people in the states to vote on and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
I immediately, of course, the problem is what happens if the wrong people are running that, and that's my immediate thought here. It's like, yeah, a DC reboot sounds like a good idea because they've been kind of all they've known how to do lately is to make people buy
Yeah.
or make covers of them holding tamales. Although they've apparently taken the food out of all those covers, so they have some sense or
Yeah.
some shame. Some shame. Sense would have not. If they'd had
Yeah.
sense, they wouldn't have gotten into it to start with.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, okay, are we getting an entirely new group of writers and creators? Are they bringing back some established people like Chuck Austin or whatnot? Uh, or is it going to be the same people who are currently writing it, but now they're starting from square one so they can do whatever the hell they feel like?
I'm guessing it's the latter.
I'm assuming it's the latter. So
Yeah.
this is not great, in my
No.
opinion.
No.
On the other hand, the only DC comics I buy anymore are trade paperbacks, usually of old stuff. So, hey, man, keep at it. Just makes it so I don't have more media to have to keep up with.
Yeah, exactly.
In other news, the Emmys ratings were under 6 million for the first time ever.
Yes.
And Vanity Fair has an interesting take on it. Even with moments like Cheryl Lee Ralph's speech going instantly viral, the show's ratings continue to tank. Is there a way to fix it?
To me, I think I would say no, at least because the dynamic of the industry has shifted to where people really don't care about. I'm be honest, like I really don't care. I don't care about awards anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a bunch of multimillionaires with large egos getting those egos stroked with a nice little gold statue, or just like,
whatever an Emmy is, which I forget.
it's the one that's like the holding the globe up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I really don't. I mean, I don't. I think what I watched Clownfish TV's video about this, and I think he was right that it was Neon when he said that Ricky Gervais kind of I think he killed awards shows.
Right, because didn't he do like I think he did the Golden Globes,
Yeah.
and he just like completely parodied it.
Oh yeah.
Or just like it was very brutal.
Oh yeah. He roasted them. Yeah, he just said, the people in America, they don't normal everyday people, they don't care about you. They don't care about your opinions. They don't want
Yep.
you lecturing to them and all the time. And yeah.
Yep.
And he reminded me of he was basically a court jester. Just telling everybody how it was, and whether
He
they
tried to warn him.
Yeah, he tried to warn them, and yeah.
I kind of have a similar thought. The other thing is like, it's funny. It's like you go, I don't care about the awards. And then I heard that Only Murders in the Building won some. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think part of it is that it are shows that you actually are aware of winning awards. But at the same time, if I felt like it, I could go watch Steve Martin and Selena Gomez and
Martin Short.
Thank you, Martin Short, going up there and accepting the award, and on YouTube, and I don't have to sit through the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's well, especially like with Only Murders in the Building. I mean, I mentioned that you've talked about this before. One of the Emmys was for best sound mixing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the episode where it was told completely from the perspective of the deaf characters, from the deaf characters' perspective.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Like with all the sounds heavily washed out in just the right way.
Oh yeah, and I will say that the part of it I do like are all the people that like the technical side of TV show making and filmmaking. Those guys getting awards. I think and writers and that sort of thing. That's good because I hate to say it, those guys don't get a whole lot of recognition.
Right. They have a lot of special effects people. It's like you only notice the people doing the job if they do it top 1% and they've done something you've never seen before, or they fuck it up.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of a thankless job, so it is nice to have that for them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't. But other than that, like I don't care about actors winning awards.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's nice if it's somebody you like, but who do I like anymore, really?
I don't really like anybody anymore these days.
Yeah. It's also just a matter of it's kind of the proliferation of streaming services. There are so many TV shows out there that are just kind of filler that it's not like everybody has that one show they're watching.
Yeah.
So it's just hard. So
yeah.
Take that, Hollywood.
Yes.
Now we sound very calm about this because I'm kind of tired of being intentionally played.
Yes. Yeah. We finally have a term for what we've been talking about for since the beginning of the show, which is it's fan baiting, which has become the go-to marketing tactic for movie studios and to try to get people to I'm just gonna say guilt and shame people into going to see a probably at best mediocre movie, at worst god awful movie.
Right. And now Aaron Sparrow proposed the alternative name Fantagonism, which is a much more clever name, but I don't feel like people would use it.
Yeah, a little mouthy.
A little mouthy, and it's kind of a thinker.
Yeah.
But fan baiting. So what is fan baiting? So a Twitter commenter by the name of Dr. Thala Siren started a thread. Fan baiting is a form of marketing used by producers, film studios, and actors with the intent of exciting artificial controversy, garnering publicity, and explaining away the negative reviews of a new and often highly anticipated production. And I'll go ahead and pull it up on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a pretty long thread, but
fan baiting emerged as a marketing strategy in 2016-17 after fans of beloved franchises such as Ghostbusters and Star Wars objected to what they saw as poor writing choices, sloppy scripts, and cheap alterations to plot lines and characters for the sake of shock value.
Yeah.
Alongside of these critics, there was a small group of bigoted but vociferous commentators who objected to the inclusion of black and female actors in roles traditionally held by white male actors. Some of these individuals began publicly harassing actors. Bigots have always attacked diversity on screen, but in a highly polarized political climate, instances of harassment garnered disproportionately massive media coverage, which provided production studios with both free publicity and a new defense against actual critics. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it probably started. I think the idea, the genesis of it, probably started probably before in 2015 after The Force Awakens, because you had like the first trailer that came out, like the first person, the very first teaser trailer, the first person you see is John Boyega playing Finn, and he's in his stormtrooper armor in the desert. And I remember there were a small group of people who were not happy about seeing a black guy as a stormtrooper. I didn't care. I was a little intrigued. I'm like, who is this guy? Why is he in his stormtrooper armor?
Why is he afraid?
Yes, yeah. Is he actually a stormtrooper? Is he a spy who's dressed up in stormtrooper garb? What's going on here?
There were some people who objected to it on like a canon basis, under the impression from the prequels that all stormtroopers were clones of the same guy, but that's like why the Empire is never going to recruit anybody at any point and keep making expensive clones.
that didn't really hold up. Yeah, in terms of just lore and aspect. But then of course then the movie came out and everybody saw it, and then you started hearing the criticisms that Ray being a Mary Sue.
Right, which I feel like I think they started in 2017 for Star Wars because among my circle, it didn't really hit just how bad it was until The Last Jedi came out. Because Last Jedi really ramped up all the bad aspects of that movie. Because basically, the first movie required a good second movie to answer its questions.
Right. And as we all know, it didn't.
No. But it's interesting. It's like, I admit that it's like, let's talk about Little Mermaid for a minute here.
Okay.
It's very nice for the actress that she got the role.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly roll my eyes at it because that Call Me Cheta did a review or did a video recently that pointed out that Hollywood, it's like there are 3 types of diversity that Hollywood likes to do: black, white woman, and gay.
Yeah.
And so it's like you could have, could Ariel have been Latina? Could Ariel have been Asian? Could Ariel have been any number of things?
Yes.
Yep, but no, it's like it's like you roll the dice and you get. Yeah. You also, but it's like, well, actually, over here they have this review of Pinocchio. Pinocchio, from everything I've heard, is a great example of somebody missing the point of an original.
Mm-hmm.
Because the original Pinocchio was like a very sort of what I'll call a very Christian mindset, where it's like you are responsible for your actions. You have to be virtuous, or else bad things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you lie, the lie will be as plain as the nose on your face. If you go out there and drink and party, you'll make an ass of yourself. Like very obvious metaphors, right?
Yes.
This movie, from everything I've heard, focuses on Pinocchio. It focuses on Pinocchio being the victim. Oh, everybody always leads Pinocchio astray. It's not Pinocchio's fault. And at the end of the movie, he doesn't become a real boy.
Oh, jeez.
Because I guess the lesson is love yourself. When the first one was a story of self-improvement and self-responsibility, where this one seems to be, hey, you're okay being a wooden puppet. Which interesting thing, you may recall there was some controversy because the blue fairy was, I believe, a man, like a black man. So
yeah.
I guess they rolled the dice twice and got 2 results.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed: not a single review I've read that has been negative has talked about or touched on that in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have something that bad, like they didn't put the armor close enough. They didn't put the fan bait close enough to the heart of the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it explains some of the marketing choices in Lord of the Rings of Power, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Why have the Black Dwarf front and center? Because it's going to draw the voices of actual bigots, and it'll be hard to distinguish them from people who go, but that isn't in the Tolkien lore.
Yeah.
Who might have a point. And then it turns out that's the character everybody actually liked.
Yeah.
Because she was fun.
Yes.
So and it's just, I don't know. It's this weakness of YouTube commenter culture, where it's like, it's very, when you only get like little bits of information, it's easy to fixate on things that once the thing actually comes out, turn out to not be a big deal.
Right. Yeah. It's and Yeah, it's a familiar playbook that we've been seeing lately. You know, what we've been seeing it for the last 6 7 years. It's just
Yep.
yeah.
You come out with a bad product. Like, was part of the objection to Ghostbusters it being for women? Yes, there was some of that.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, was the bigger objection that it wasn't Ghostbusters 3? Yes. Was the even bigger objection that that first trailer was complete horseshit?
Yes.
If you'd had Adam Sandler, David Spade, that one fat guy from King of Queens who used to
Yeah, Kevin James.
Kevin James, thank you. Kevin James and whoever else they hang out with. And Rob Schneider
Yeah.
in that trailer, that would have been just as hated.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that would have been a horrible movie.
Yes.
Terrible.
Arguably not. It couldn't. It might not have been worse than what we got. Might have actually been better than what we got.
Maybe a little.
Because you wouldn't have had Paul Feig directing it because he doesn't like men. He
That's
stated
fair.
he doesn't like men, so it would have been actually Adam Sandler taking over. It would have probably been on par with Pixels, which was like somewhat watchable. Not good, but somewhat watchable. But anyway, so it's like it's this game that they play. It's oh, well, and I notice. So do you remember in the new Spider-Man movies, Ned Leeds?
Yes.
How he's a fat, was he Asian kid?
Yeah.
Is he Filipino?
Maybe Polynesian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, something like that. Have you ever heard anybody complain about that?
No.
Now, the character was white in the comics because it's a character nobody really cares about.
Yeah.
He had a role in the series, but it's not like a huge role.
Yeah.
I heard many more people complain about MJ because I think they intentionally named her MJ as like almost an early version of this to try to bait people out. Like, you made Mary Jane black. No, she's not Mary Jane. Her name just happens to be MJ, and she's Spider-Man's love interest.
Yeah. Well, and also too with Flash Thompson, they turned him from the big dumb jock into a preppy arrogant whatever he was.
I admit I've only seen the second one of those Spider-Man movies so far, so I don't think Flash was in that one. Or if he did, no impression left.
Yeah, he wasn't in he wasn't in them very much, but yeah, he was just a just preppy douchebag.
Right, which isn't too much of a stretch, but you know what the difference is there? They actually had decent movies, so they didn't feel the need to debate with fan backlash.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the only Disney movie that just like the general consensus is it was actually good, like these live action remakes, was Cinderella, the first one, because it sounds like they actually did something with the story. Like I remember hearing what's his name, that one YouTuber who loves swords a lot.
Shadversity.
Yeah, Shadversity said it's one of his favorite movies. So all the other ones though, did you remember that they came out with a Lady and the Tramp live action remake to boot off Disney Plus?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I have never heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah, me neither.
So I assume that means that it was so bad it left no impression. Yeah. So basically, okay, Disney knows that they'll get a certain amount of money by coming out with a live action remake. They also know that these live action remakes are not generally very good. So what do you do when you go to Little Mermaid? Cast a black girl as the main actress, let her be your shield, and coast your way in. Star Wars Obi-Wan, you preemptively talk about, this Moses woman is going to get so much hate online.
Yes.
And then they showed like 3 mean Instagram messages she got, or 3 mean direct messages she got.
Yeah, and all of a sudden she's getting bombarded. Yeah.
Right, and you have to have Ewan McGregor go out to to chide the fans.
Yeah, make a video from his car.
Yes, which it's like, man, you're not making me want to watch the movie more. or watch the
Yeah.
show more.
Yeah, and well, and that character, it was the least of that show's problems.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
it was
But she was the sacrifice.
yeah, that's and that's it's part of that. I was looking through that thread that you the was kind of the basis of this topic, and right here it says actors who are women and or BIPOC. I hate that.
Which is basically anything but white or Asian.
Right, yeah. Became props and shields for craven corporate laziness and opportunism. The studios saved money both by avoiding expensive veteran writers as well as by offloading publicity to news outlets and social media covering the artificial controversy.
Right. Which, see, if fan baiting works, it brings in a new sympathetic audience whose endorsement is more about taking a public stance about the prejudice than any real interest in the art. Fan baiting also permits studios to cultivate public skepticism over the legitimacy of poor reviews. So,
Yeah.
let's take a step back. So that's part of why we are not doing the breathless blow by blow, episode by episode breakdowns of Lord of the Rings of Power.
Right.
Because life's too short.
Exactly. Yeah.
We are not going to be your negative. We're not going to be your negative marketing department, and we're not going to give you views.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's I'm not playing this game.
Nope. Fan baiting also compels reviewers to temper their criticism for fear of becoming associated with the toxic fandom and losing the professional credibility, resulting in telling discrepancies between critic and audience review scores. Which other people, there have been articles I've seen where 2022 had the biggest discrepancies between reviewer and audience scores.
Yeah.
Put another way, media corporations have found a way to monetize the racism that they set their actors to receive.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah, I'm not going to, monetize this. We're not going to do that. Yeah.
And like the thing of it is, it's cheaper, yeah, but you're just so stupid about this. It's kind of like throwing things straight onto streaming. Like Sony, at this point, Sony used to be like a warning label. Now I almost see it as, okay, if it's a Sony production, you know that it's something they thought was good enough to put in theaters instead of dumping right onto streaming.
Right. Yeah.
You have things like Morbius come out, but it's not a perfect system.
No. Yeah.
But Sony comes out with a movie, they can wait 6 months and come out with it on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital purchase. Then they can come out with. Then they can sell to Netflix and make more money off of Netflix. Then when that expires, they can sell it again.
Mm-hmm.
Disney, you come out with the movie, 45 days later, you dump it on Disney Plus, and while we saw from before, how was I going to say? Some people are buying DVDs, but but for some of these, but it's way less than it could be.
Yeah.
I find the fault of this marketing on the cultural warriors. This marketing is just another form of monetizing your haters. Yeah. But it's funny because it's like an abusive relationship where both sides profit, because what would some of these channels and personalities have if they didn't have Lord of the Rings to knock around?
Yeah. Somebody like heels versus babyface. That's part of his whole shtick is hating on these shows and everything. Which, don't get me wrong, I like he's very entertaining.
Yes.
I mean, his Batwoman reviews are legendary.
Because the earlier criticisms were based on the cultural war first and the actual quality second, it muddled actual criticisms. And it also trained a lot of people, and I've fallen into myself a few times, of assuming, oh, this is diverse, must be crap.
Yeah.
And then I find out, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the way these things are marketing, it's almost as is if they know firsthand that this show isn't going to be very good, so they highlight the diversity aspects of it.
Yeah,
And
that's just interesting, isn't it? Because it's weird, because you take a look at your script you got from somebody who's never made a show before, and you don't think, oh, let's hire someone to punch this up. You think, great.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. I'm just trying to make up a character. Dumbledore is now black. There. Now we don't have to. Now we don't have to make it better.
Yeah. Yeah. You get Idris Elba to play Dumbledore.
Yeah, and Idris Elba might do a good job as Dumbledore, but in this example, the script would be a bad one. So it's
yeah. Just highlighting diversity things doesn't automatically make your show or movie good
or bad for that matter,
or bad. No, it all depends on the story and the narrative, the acting, which that's part of something I've heard about with Rings of Power, is that the acting isn't very good.
Right? Because they don't have anything to work with. They got a lot of inexperienced people. Are you going to turn down to be in a $1 billion show? No.
Well, and what gets me too is the two guys that they got working on the show were nobodies.
Yeah, they all that they had going for them was, I think, they had done some work with J.J. Abrams' company of some sort.
Yeah, and I think they were supposed to work on the now defunct new Star Trek movie.
Ugh.
Yeah, and they're very, very low people. I hate to say it, that they didn't. Their experience level is probably about what ours would be. Like if Amazon hired us to write Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and which is not saying much.
No, well, yeah.
But yeah, it's just a losing game for everybody. So
Yeah,
I think the best thing you can do is just be aware of it, and just don't, how to put it, don't worry so much about what's coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is like appropriate as a bookend for what we just did. Yeah, we just went through things, and I admit we saw certain code words and we said nope. We've been trained that means it's bad, because the things that emphasize that are bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely have a bias towards those things, and most of the time it's just not only necessarily think it's bad, but it's just like, well, that's not something I am interested in seeing. It's not
right.
not my cup of tea.
Right. Do I want to watch a thing about a religious colony where the women are being abused, and they have to be heard? No, because it's just, that sounds like a bad time to me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun movie to watch.
I actually kind of like that whole Pinocchio change we're talking about, where the shift was from virtue to victim.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like watching movies about people overcoming things. That's just me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Overcoming adversity is a very is a great plot element, because it works.
Yeah, not to say that the one that I was talking about doesn't have overcoming adversity, but it's a different kind of overcoming adversity. I want a clear evil I can punch in the face.
Yes. And Ninja Toast says, I found the acting is heavily affected by the script rather than the actors.
Oh, did you actually watch Rings of Power?
Ooh. I think I remember him saying that he was interested in watching it, so he probably has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, which, it's funny. It's like you would think that the script would be the cheapest thing in the world to make good, because you can cast while you're rewriting. There's no reason to go with your first draft.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, this is now that we know the game that is being played, we know not to play. As they say in war games, the only winning move is not to play.
Yep. And so now that we're kind of more aware of it, we can stop playing into their game. Now, does that mean I'm going to stop watching your boy Zach or not watch the occasional as review where he put? No, because they made the intentionally cheaply written thing, and now now the fun of it is watching someone riff on it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think we've exhausted this topic.
Yes.
At least for this week.
Yes. We've been kind of developing it for a bit. Now we have a word for it, so now we can be on the lookout for fan baiting.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate it as always. Give the stream a like, subscribe. Ninja Toad says regular viewer with mom. Find the show enjoyably mediocre. It's not an insult to Tolkien's legacy, other than the quality of writing. Okay.
Which that's a pretty big flaw for the man who basically invented and codified the modern fantasy genre.
Yeah. But yeah. Like I said, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you all next week. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
The life of a spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.